The Battle of the Badger Mouth, also known as the Tumu Crisis, was a significant and catastrophic military engagement that took place in 1449 during the Ming Dynasty in China. This battle, fought near the Great Wall at a pass known as Badger Mouth, Tumu in Chinese, marked one of the most dramatic and disastrous defeats in Chinese military history. It not only exposed the vulnerabilities of the Ming Dynasty, but also had profound implications for the political and military strategies of China in the following centuries. To understand the full significance of the Battle of the Badger Mouth, it is essential to examine the political and military context of 15th century China. The Ming Dynasty, which had been founded in 1368 by Zhu Yuanzhang, had successfully expelled the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty and re-established Chinese rule over the vast territories of China. The Ming rulers were deeply concerned with defending the northern frontier against the Mongols, who remained a potent threat even after their expulsion from China. The Great Wall, which was in a constant state of construction and expansion during the Ming period, symbolized this concern. The wall was intended to serve as a formidable barrier against the nomadic tribes that roamed the steppes to the north. By the mid-15th century, the Ming dynasty was ruled by the young and inexperienced Emperor Jingtong, also known as Ingzong, who ascended the throne at the age of 8. His reign was dominated by the influence of powerful court eunuchs, particularly Wang Jin, who wielded significant authority and played a crucial role in the events leading up to the Battle of the Badger Mouth. Wang Jun, who served as the emperor's chief eunuch, was notorious for his manipulation of court politics and his interference in military affairs, despite lacking any formal military training or experience. The events that culminated in the Battle of the Badger Mouth began in 1449, when Izan Taisher, the powerful leader of the Oirat Mongols, launched a series of raids into northern China. Izan, who had risen to power after consolidating control over the Oirats, was a shrewd and ambitious leader. He sought to assert Mongol dominance over the steppes and expand his influence by challenging the Ming dynasty, which he viewed as a potential threat to his aspirations. Izan's raids into Ming territory were not merely acts of banditry. They were calculated moves designed to test the strength and resolve of the Chinese defenses. The Mongol incursions prompted a swift response from the Ming court. Wang Jun, eager to demonstrate his loyalty and influence over the emperor, convinced the young Jingtong emperor to personally lead a large army northward to confront the Mongols. This decision was unprecedented and highly controversial, as it broke with the traditional practice of emperors remaining in the capital and delegating military command to experienced generals. Wang Jun's insistence on the emperor's involvement was driven by his desire to maintain his grip on power and assert his dominance over the military leadership. In the summer of 1449, the Jingtong emperor, accompanied by Wang Jin and an army estimated to number between 200,000 and 500,000 soldiers, set out from Beijing toward the northern frontier. The army was well equipped and supplied, but it was poorly led and lacked the experience needed for such a challenging campaign. The decision to march the emperor himself into battle created a logistical nightmare, as the vast entourage that accompanied him, including court officials, eunuchs, and supply trains, slowed the army's progress and strained its resources. As the Ming army advanced, it became increasingly clear that Wang Jin had grossly underestimated the challenges of the campaign. The vast distances, difficult terrain, and lack of clear objectives led to confusion and disarray among the troops. The army's progress was further hampered by poor communication and coordination between the various commanders, many of whom were inexperienced and lacked the authority to make decisive decisions. Meanwhile, Izan Taisher closely monitored the movements of the Ming army and carefully planned his strategy. He recognized that the Ming forces were overextended, and he sought to exploit their weaknesses. Izan's forces, composed of highly mobile cavalry, employed hit-and-run tactics, harassing the Ming troops and cutting off their supply lines. The Mongols were adept at maneuvering in the difficult terrain of the northern steppes, and their knowledge of the region gave them a significant advantage over the cumbersome Ming army. As the Ming forces neared the Great Wall, they were ambushed by the Mongols at a location known as Badger Mouth Tumu. The battle that ensued was a catastrophic defeat for the Ming. The Mongols, employing superior tactics and mobility, quickly overwhelmed the disorganized and demoralized Ming troops. The Zhengtong emperor, who was ill-prepared for the rigors of battle, was captured by the Mongols, along with many of his high-ranking officials and generals. The capture of the emperor was a devastating blow to the Ming dynasty. It was the first time in Chinese history that a reigning emperor had been taken prisoner by a foreign power, and it plunged the Ming court into chaos. With the emperor in Mongol hands, there was widespread fear and uncertainty about the future of the dynasty. Wang Jin, the architect of the disastrous campaign, was killed during the battle, but his death did little to alleviate the crisis. The Mongols initially held the emperor as a bargaining chip, hoping to extract significant concessions from the Ming court. However, the court, under the leadership of the Empress Dowager and the emperor's younger brother, Zhu Qiu, who was installed as the new emperor under the title of Jingtai, refused to negotiate. They declared the Zhengtong emperor deposed and his capture an unfortunate but necessary sacrifice to ensure the stability of the dynasty. Yizen Taisher, realizing that the Ming court would not ransom the emperor, eventually released him in 1450, likely in the hope of sowing further discord within the Ming dynasty. Upon his return to Beijing, the Zhengtong emperor was placed under house arrest and stripped of his power. His brother, the Jingtai emperor, ruled in his stead until 1457, when Zhengtong staged a coup and reclaimed the throne, adopting the reign title of Tianshan. The Battle of the Badger Mouth had far-reaching consequences for the Ming dynasty. It exposed the weaknesses of the Ming military and highlighted the dangers of court eunuchs interfering in military matters. The loss of the emperor and the subsequent political turmoil weakened the central authority of the dynasty and emboldened external threats, particularly from the Mongols and other nomadic tribes. In the aftermath of the battle, the Ming court undertook significant military reforms to prevent a recurrence of such a disaster. The Great Wall, which had proven inadequate in preventing the Mongol incursions, was strengthened and expanded, becoming the formidable structure that is often associated with the Ming dynasty today. The court also placed greater emphasis on maintaining a professional and well-trained military, with experienced generals given more autonomy in conducting military campaigns. The legacy of the Battle of the Badger Mouth, or the Tumu crisis, is a sobering reminder of the complexities and challenges of empire building and defense. It underscores the importance of effective leadership, military strategy, and the dangers of hubris and overconfidence in the face of determined adversaries. The battle remains a significant event in Chinese history, symbolizing the vulnerabilities of even the most powerful states when faced with internal divisions and external threats.